Okay, let's be real for a second. If you're a university student right now, you absolutely know the exact feeling of staring at your phone late at night, swiping through endless profiles, and just feeling fundamentally exhausted. Seriously, you are not alone in this. Between your classes, cramming for exams, and just trying to have somewhat of a normal social life, the whole digital dating ecosystem has somehow morphed from a fun way to meet people into this highly stressful, completely unpaid second internship. Well, today, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the hard science behind that exact feeling. We're going to look at why the modern dating landscape feels so completely rigged against you. And spoiler alert here, it is absolutely not because there's something wrong with you. It's actually all about the psychology of the system itself. So, I want to pose this question directly to you right up front. Think about your own experiences, or even just those crazy stories your friends share over coffee or back in the dorms. Why does modern dating feel impossible? I mean, why does an era that literally gives us more tools to connect than any previous generation in human history leave us feeling more disconnected, ghosted, and burnt out than ever? Today, we are conducting a full diagnostic investigation. We're going to uncover the invisible psychological forces that are operating right behind your screen every single time you open a dating app. Okay, let's dive into this by putting a name to exactly what it is we're experiencing here. It's called digital dating fatigue. Now, this isn't just you being a little tired of texting back and forth. No, this is a profound, clinically recognized psychological exhaustion that comes directly from the modern dating app ecosystem. It's that heavy apathy you feel when you get a brand new match and you literally can't even summon the energy to type hello. It's the burnout that makes you angrily delete your apps on a Friday night only to re-download them by Tuesday morning. Validating this shared pain is step one, right? Because once we can name the symptom, we can start hunting down the underlying diseases causing it. So, to really understand this fatigue, we have to look at the pathogens built into the system. And that brings us to our very first invisible psychological culprit, the illusion of abundance. You see, dating apps market themselves on a very specific, very tempting promise. They basically tell you, hey, look at all these incredible, attractive, smart people on your campus and in your city. Your absolute soulmate is in here somewhere. You just have to swipe to find them. It presents this limitless buffet. Think of it as the ultimate endless campus dining hall of romance. But, as we're about to see, human brains were absolutely not wired to process a limitless romantic dining hall. And this brings us to a foundational concept in psychology, the paradox of choice. This is the phenomenon where having too many options actually paralyzes us rather than liberating us. Think about picking your electives for the semester. If your major only gives you 3 choices, you pick one and you generally feel pretty good about it. But if you're staring at a 300-page course catalog, you freeze. And even when you finally do register for a class, you spend the entire semester wondering if you should have taken that other seminar instead. When dating apps put literally thousands of potential matches right in your pocket, they trigger this exact same paralysis. The core promise of these apps, having endless great options, is actually the precise mechanism that's causing your inability to commit or ever feel truly satisfied. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that psychologist Barry Schwartz literally wrote the book on this exact phenomenon. Having too many options triggers choice paralysis and severely decreases our ultimate satisfaction. In the context of university dating, this means you might be out on a totally fine date, having a really decent time, but there's this little voice in the back of your head whispering, yeah, they're cool, but what if there's someone 10% funnier just one swipe away? The abundance is a total illusion because it tricks your brain into perpetually searching for a mathematically perfect partner that just doesn't exist, completely robbing you of the ability to be happy with a really great person sitting right across the table from you. But here's the thing, the paradox of choice is really only half the story. Let's say you actually manage to push past the choice paralysis. You make a connection, you delete the app, you decide to try and actually build a relationship with this person. Well, congratulations, because you have just stepped right into the territory of our second major psychological hurdle. We call this culprit 2, the attachment collision. This is the compounding complication that happens when overwhelmed daters actually attempt to navigate modern situationships. To truly understand this collision, we need to talk about attachment theory. This is the psychological framework that explains exactly how we form and maintain our emotional bonds. Developed way back in the mid-20th century, this theory basically states that our early life experiences wire us to seek intimacy and handle relationship stress in very specific, predictable ways. Think of it like your personal emotional operating system. And guys, when you mix the high-stress, extremely low-commitment environment of college dating apps with these deeply ingrained emotional operating systems, things get incredibly messy. And this brilliantly illustrates the dynamic at play here.
On one side, we have the anxious partner. Let's call them the chaser. When relationship anxiety spikes for them, like say when they're left on red for 6 hours while their match is supposedly at the library, their operating system screams at them to seek validation, close the distance, and pursue. But on the other side, we have the avoidant partner, the retreater. When relationship anxiety spikes for them, maybe because things are getting a bit too serious right before midterms, their operating system tells them that closeness is dangerous and they desperately need to pull away to regain their independence. The absolute tragedy of modern dating is that these two psychological types are magnetically drawn to one another, creating this massive, chaotic collision behind the scenes.
When the chaser and the retreater finally meet, they enter what clinical psychologists refer to as the anxious avoidant trap. But honestly, let's just call it what it really feels like, the relentless loop. It goes a little something like this. The anxious partner feels insecure, so they send a double text just to get some reassurance. The avoidant partner feels suffocated by that double text, so they back away. The anxious partner senses them pulling back, absolutely panics, and pushes even harder for closeness. The avoidant partner feels completely overwhelmed by the pressure and just straight up ghosts. It is this wildly exhausting, relentless dance where one person is perpetually chasing while the other is perpetually running away. Nobody wins here, and both people just end up staring at their ceilings at 2 a.m., feeling completely misunderstood and alone.
So the crucial point is this. When we really look at modern dating fatigue, we aren't just looking at one isolated problem. And we certainly are not looking at a fundamental flaw in you. We are looking at a broken system where two distinct psychological phenomena are constantly feeding off each other. It's this toxic combination of the external environment, the apps themselves, and our own internal wiring. We've taken human beings who genuinely crave secure attachment, thrown them headfirst into a digital casino that actively discourages commitment, and then we sit back and wonder why everyone is so deeply unhappy.
Let's see how all of this builds into a complete psychological map of your dating life. These steps sequence together in a shockingly predictable way. Step 1. You engage in endless swiping, completely driven by the paradox of choice. This creates an environment where people are practically treated as disposable commodities. Step 2. Because everyone feels disposable, literally nobody feels secure. This environment triggers our deepest insecurities. Step 3. Those insecurities ignite the attachment loop. The anxious folks chase, the avoidant folks retreat, and communication completely breaks down into this toxic game of who cares less. Which leads us inevitably to Step 4. Dating fatigue. The system is operating exactly as it was designed to, burning you out and leaving you totally exhausted. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to chew on. How is the psychology of swiping changing your own attachment habits? Are you finding yourself becoming more anxious because of the constant ghosting? Or maybe you're becoming more avoidant because you know there's always another option just a quick swipe away. You see, the apps aren't just a reflection of how we date anymore. They are actively rewiring how we relate to one another. Now, simply understanding these psychological forces doesn't magically fix modern dating, but it does do something vital. It gives you your power back. It allows you to step outside the loop, recognize the illusion of abundance for what it is, and maybe approach your next connection with a little more grace for yourself and for them. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.